Imagine walking with the King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a man who would prove to the world he was one of the most influential leaders of all time, a man who made the ultimate sacrifice for mankind. As humans in America, even more so today than ever, we understand the why of many of his quotes. We understand and live the genuine pain and ails of everyday men and women. In tribute to the legacy of Dr. King, we have collaborated with 5 young women who through monologues will interpret some of Dr. King's quotes to help us understand our role in listening to his voice as we contribute to a better America and a better world. Join us for a moment as we walk with a King.
I submit that an individual who breaks a law that conscience tells him is unjust and who willingly accepts the penalty of imprisonment in order to arouse the conscience of the community of its injustice is in fact expressing the highest respect for the law. The coldest, loneliest place in the world. A place where I could no longer be myself, where my name, my age, even my color meant absolutely nothing. A place where I couldn't even change the thermostat. Couldn't have 1 ounce of privacy, no family, no friends, no noise, just a cause. Can you believe I went willingly? I went willingly for Mrs. Johnny May up the street for the time that she was having chest pains and her son took her to the hospital and they wouldn't let her in the front. And by the time they walked around the back to the colored entrance, she had had another massive heart attack and died. I went willingly for little Petey, who used to go to school with us until his family moved so far away that they couldn't walk to the black school anymore, even though the white school was just a 1/4 mile up the street. I went for Mary Smith, my best friend in the 2nd grade, whose mama took her out of school with us and homeschooled her because she didn't want her going to school with people like me. I went for Joanne Lewis, who, although was overqualified, didn't get the promotion just because she was a woman. I went for my friends who stood up for Black Lives Matter because they cared to stand in the storm for me, for justice, for fairness, all that's right. I willingly went to jail for love of humanity, of equality, of justice. I went to jail for my soul, for my peace, for my insanity. I went to jail for you.
See, I was a fool. A fool in a nice suit, a nice hat, and a brand new pair of red-bottom heels. A fool with a degree, a good upbringing, intelligence, money, family, and friends. A fool with the whole world at their fingertips. I had everything. I had everything God could have possibly given me. I even had good health and good looks. And I still fell. You want to know why I fell? I fell because I didn't want or need anybody. Whenever I had a problem, I thought, I can figure it out on my own. I didn't want the help of the little man. Shoot, I climbed the ladder of success by myself. And where were you? Nowhere. I didn't see you hoist my foot up to get me into my self-satisfaction. Or do anything to help my efforts, or send me a card, or ask if you could help. So I didn't need you. I didn't want you. Furthermore, I wasn't there for you either. I didn't support your causes, or join your movement, or mingle with your friends, or help in any of your personal dilemmas. I was me, and you were you. 2 separate people, 2 separate lives. And we didn't need anything from each other. I had no expectations of you and appreciated the same. Now here we are, 2 fools with half of everything we could have had.
I was silent. I thought I was right. It wasn't about me. It wasn't even about my friends, my cause, my life. It wasn't going to hurt me. It wasn't going to put a dent in my step. If I walked away and never looked back, I wouldn't have even remembered it. Heck, it wasn't going to get me to speak up. I couldn't see a ribbon on my chest or applause in my ear just for me. It wasn't going to put a dime in my pocket. It would have caused confusion, too much conflict, and would have stepped on my contentment. I was silent. And I left you alone to face your life with no backup. Alone to walk through your injustices, your inequality, your disgust for your bondage placed by your enemies. I left you alone to face your frustrations, your pains, your lashes into your soul. I was silent, and it hurt you and me.
I was watching the world, because I wanted to know how bad things were. I wanted to use my intelligence, my intellect, my good intentions to study these people, to study their problems, and to find out why they're so down. I was watching those hungry children in Africa, their big bellies, their diseases, studying and trying to figure out how they got themselves in such a predicament. How did they get down so low when there are those of us that are so high? I was watching, like a hawk in a tree, watching those homeless folks downtown Atlanta looking at my purse, wanting my dollars after I left the Braves game on my way to my car. I was watching the hungry look in their eyes. What's the problem? Why can't you get a job? I was watching the lady at the grocery store, a child on her hip, one in the buggy, 3 following behind her in their no-string shoes. Mama this and mama that, mama, mama, mama. I saw her buying packs and packs of ramen noodles and hot dogs and cheap cereal. I watched her, tears in her eyes, wanting to buy them at least one of the treats that they really wanted. She didn't know I saw when she put back a few of the noodles to get the popsicles. I watched her send the older kids ahead so they couldn't see the EBT card she had to use, not wanting to raise them, thinking that they had to depend on the system. I was watching until I got home and my dad told me he lost his job. No problem. With the savings and the retirement and the education, no worries. Until the savings ran out and the company folded and the retirement was gone. I was watching his demise, the consuming depression and disappointment and the bitterness because a system that had no compassion and no answers in our time of need. I was watching as we went down and couldn't drag ourselves out, too rich to get help, too poor to help ourselves. Then came hunger and pain and disappointment. I saw it. They were watching us, entangled in a circle of injustice.
In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of liberty and the pursuit of happiness. You see this? This is a check. This is a check written for more than you could ever imagine. The dollar amount is so high that it can touch the sky. Yeah, touch every corner of heaven itself. You see, this check pays for freedom. Freedom to not only have access to all the resources afforded by our government and constitution, freedom to not only worship my God, my Jesus, whenever and wherever I want, but freedom to walk, freedom to run, freedom to bask in my uniqueness, freedom to be me. Me, the little black girl in a church in Birmingham, Alabama, the first black congressman, the first black president of the United States, the first black woman vice president. Me, the first woman astronaut. Me, a singer, a dancer, a housewife, a model, a football player, a trash collector, a CEO, a preacher. Look at it. Paid to the order of the people of America.